These students are bullying a girl called Hyung. They pour the soft drink into her rice and make her finish that. She doesn't dare to say no and immediately puts it in her mouth. Still not enough, they even throw food at her. Donghyun can't stand anymore. Hey guys, be quiet. As the weakest person in the school, Donghyun is threatened. But he's no longer the person who can be bullied anymore. Pan-soo is a CEO of a corporation. And a son-in-law of a gangster, so he's responsible for managing the corporation. Besides having a luxurious car and private drivers. That day, when Pan-soo is driving, he's stopped by a garbage truck. He gets off to make a phone call and suddenly somebody jumps on him. When he wakes up, he is in the hospital. He finds something wrong when everybody calls him a student. Pan-soo walks around and sees that the person in a coma next to him is himself. Then, an uncle rushes in and asks, "Are you okay, my son?" When he looks at the mirror, Pan-soo has found out that he becomes another person. It turns out that Pan-soo and Donghyun have switched their bodies. Pan-soo wants to take his body back, but his subordinate kicks him out. He could just come home, but unintentionally scares his wife. Finally, Pan-soo is arrested by the police. He has no choice but to go to Donghyun's house. The next day, Pan-soo is taken to school. Seeing his friends being disrespectful to him, Pan-soo guesses that this student is a subject of bullying. During lunchtime, Pan-soo sees a girl being bullied by other students. They pour the soft drink into her rice and make her finish that. She can just obey. Still not enough, they even throw her food at her. Pan-soo can't stand, so he tries to stop them. A boy sees that Pan-soo is causing a problem to them, so he intimidates Pan-soo. Pan-soo is a gangster, so he's not afraid of these little bullies. After school, he comes to the appointment. "Do we not work well together? Do you need a beating? You bastard. I don't like getting hit. You crazy bastard." Then Pan-soo takes his phone. Pan-soo has found out that Donghyun and Hyung are bullied a lot at school. That day, they hang Hyung's shoes on the rooftop to make Donghyun get them. Donghyun cannot balance himself, so he slips from the roof of a building and falls on top of Pan-soo, who is on his phone. That day, Pan-soo takes Hyung home and meets her mother, Mi-sun. Pan-soo finds out that she is his first love. He can't hide his emotion, so he calls her by her name. When seeing her daughter's friend calling her name, Mi-sun gives Pan-soo a few hits. After calming down, Pan-soo thinks about the past. It turns out Pan-soo has abandoned his wife and daughter for money. Now Mi-sun is looking after their daughter by herself, so Hyung is his daughter? After that, Pan-soo takes Hyung's hair to test. The result says that she's his daughter. How does it feel to be in the same class as your daughter? Thanks to this switching body story, he's found out that Hyung is always bullied at school. So Pan-soo decides to take his daughter to practice boxing. After a while, Pan-soo has trained Donghyun's fat body to be muscular. When going back to school, every student loves him. And Hyung is not bullied anymore. One day, when she's about to be bullied. At night, Pan-soo goes to Mi-sun's restaurant to ask about Hyung's father. "I still regret it when I think about him." "What do you regret?" "Not killing him." Then, a drunken man touches Mi-sun's, but on purpose. So Pan-soo stands up and knocks that guy to the ground. While fighting, Pan-soo keeps shouting Mi-sun's name, which reminds her of her husband that year, so she immediately asks, "Who are you?" Pan-soo doesn't want to hide, so he tells her everything. Mi-sun doesn't believe it at first, which forces Pan-soo to tell the secret on her body. Finally, Mi-sun has to believe everything. But in Mi-sun's mind, Pan-soo is just a bastard. Later on, Pan-soo apologizes to Mi-sun, but she doesn't forgive him. Pan-soo quickly holds her hand. People in the restaurant are watching the high school student forcibly kissing the auntie. They feel both surprised and disgusted. The two leave that place. Suddenly, Pan-soo receives a phone call. Turns out Hyung is in trouble. He immediately goes to that place and finds out that she's being poured liquor on her head. Pan-soo, of course, knocks them all out. Because of this, Pan-soo also becomes the girl's attention, including Hyung, so he quickly rejects her. Hyung doesn't know it's her father, so she decides to confess to him. Mi-sun strongly disagrees with this. So she looks for Pan-soo and asks, "What exactly did you do to make her confess to you? Does it feel good to ruin our lives completely?" When Pan-soo is explaining, Hyung has unintentionally heard it. So the reason why Pan-soo didn't want to be Hyung's boyfriend is because of her mom? Pan-soo tells Hyung that he loves her mom, as she has no idea about the changing body story, so she's heartbroken. While Pan-soo is in a coma, his wife has colluded with some subordinates to take away the company's assets. At that time, Donghyun, who is in Pan-soo's body, wakes up. Seeing his uncle's appearance, He immediately goes home to look for his father. But his father doesn't believe that this uncle is his son. Luckily, Pan-soo comes home on time and explains everything. The next day, Pan-soo brings Dong-hyun to beg for Mi-sun's forgiveness. His wife knows that her husband has left the hospital, so she comes as well. Pan-soo hides Dong-hyun and Mi-sun in the room. After a fight, Pan-soo is beaten up. The subordinate threatens him with a knife. Unexpectedly, Mi-sun brings a gas cylinder, opens the valve and holds a lighter in her hand. "If you don't want to die, get out of my pub now." She says this student is hers. They think that Mi-sun is crazy, so they run away in fright. After seeing Pan-soo's face, Mi-sun forgives his fault. At that time, Pan-soo's father-in-law finds out that his daughter is harming Pan-soo. He asks his daughter to turn the company over to Pan-soo. Pan-soo lets Dong-hyun wear earphones to discuss. His wife says that he had an affair without her knowing, and had a high school daughter. The earphones have suddenly lost their connection, so they can't hear each other. Dong-hyun now has to handle it by himself, so he says he will give up on being the successor. He even says that he just wants to be with his family. Just like that, he has helped Pan-soo refuse a huge fortune. Dong-hyun will definitely be beaten to the ground after this. But when he leaves, Pan-soo hugs him tightly. Because this decision is also his wish. Pan-soo's wife is extremely pissed off, so she drives over to hit them. But also because of this, they both switch their souls again. After a while, when Dong-hyun comes back to school, he has become an 8-pack handsome man. He becomes a person whom all the girls in the school love and pursue. Those bullies are expelled from the school. Hyung-young, who he has silently loved for years, also becomes his girlfriend. Then Pan-soo and Mi-sun also open a restaurant. His daughter also forgives him. Since then, they live a happy life together. This movie has given us a lesson, which is the importance of disposition. Even though Dong-hyun is in Pan-soo's body, his weakness and lack of confidence don't suit this body at all. Even when he's in this good-looking appearance, his scared figure makes him not as handsome as he used to be. Who do you think gets the most in the movie after all this? Alright, thanks for your watching. See you again.